other game coming up this weekend is Crystal Palace against Chelsea. It's Graham Potter's first Premier League game with Chelsea. Palace have got a strong record against the Big Six at home. Have you got Potter getting his first win with Chelsea here then, Jules?
No, I don't. I don't, because I think it's a really tough place to go, and I like what Patrick Vieira is doing there, and we've said it before. We praised him before. I think Graham Potter obviously didn't play the weekend before the international break because the game against Liverpool was postponed, and the Salzburg game, which is the only game that he had in the Champions League, was not very convincing. That draw, the way they played, the way they defended. And the problem is that 75% of his squad had left for the international break, so he could not really work with anyone or anything on what he wanted and the philosophy that he has and the changes that he would make and the differences between him and Thomas Tuchel, for example. So I don't know how ready they are. And they might be, and they might blow Palace away and win 3-0, for example, and have like a good idea of what Potter wants them to do, but they could also not be ready. And I think it could take time for Potter to implement all the ideas that he had, to find the right team, the right balance. And after not being able to work with most of his players for the last 10 days, I'm not sure if they will be ready for this weekend.
Because it's not going to get any easier, Craig, because after this game, then they've got Milan, who are top of the group in their Champions League group. Chelsea are bottom so far. We know he had that draw, as we just saw, against Salzburg. Going into this one, if Jules is right and they don't win it, does that start to make the players a little bit concerned? Will there be murmurings then? Will they be worried?
No, I think Graham Potter will be slightly concerned if he doesn't get the result. I think his tenure as Chelsea manager has been badly timed. It's not his fault. We had the death of the Queen and the postponements and the international football that Jules has mentioned. It has meant that he's had a skeleton squad to work with. So he's really putting a patchwork team out there, isn't he? And until you get time on the training field, which is what he did at Brighton, it's what he did in Scandinavia, albeit he's working with a lot better quality players now. But that does take time, and he's got plenty of money in the bank, but he just want to get some momentum. Not 100%. It's going to come at Selhurst Park this weekend because, as I mentioned earlier, it's been a difficult place to go. Jules is right. Vieira's done a very, very good job there. And you don't just turn Chelsea into this pacey attacking side overnight. It's been very pedestrian about the way they've played. They might bag a narrow win, but I think it's going to be a tight game down there, possibly a draw.
So what do you expect from them in this game, Mario, from Chelsea? What do you expect to see from them?
The only thing what I will go for, the advantage for Chelsea is I went for a 2-0 game, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I feel like Potter is not the guy that wants to dictate the game. So away from home, I feel like if knowing Patrick, he wants to win. And if Chelsea can sit back and they're comfortable in sitting back, I think the way Potter likes to play, he doesn't mind if they hit him on the break, especially going to that stadium. It's always been tough. It's not an easy one. The guys already mentioned it. When you go there, it's never your favorite place to play, I think, as a player, because they get so much support behind them and you want to perform as good as you can. But one thing you know is that Potter knows that if he sits back and he hits him on the break, you understand, that could only be his advantage, because we all know that, they have Sarr in their team. That's the focus point that always wants to get the crowd going. So as long as they really manage to control the game 90 minutes long, I feel that this could be Potter's his first win and maybe push the team on to the way he wants to play, because it's going to be very important for him.
They're not going to sit back against Crystal Palace, though, are they, Mario?
Yes, and I'm going to tell you why. Because he is not the... if you look at Chelsea now, they're away from home. I don't expect them to go out there and start firing. You understand? People maybe see Chelsea like, okay, a team, it's Chelsea. They're in control. They're dictating the tempo. They're taking the ball. They're playing the football. No, the last game I saw Chelsea, I didn't look at him like that. I feel like he is working to build his team the way he wants them to play. And I think against Palace, it's not going to be one of those sides. As long as everybody's going to ride Palace like, oh, they're a smaller team. But guys, please, don't get surprised, because that team can really surprise you when you go there. And regardless if we think Chelsea's a big giant, no.
14 points off the Big Six last season, Palace.
Yeah, they've got a bit of everything about them. They've got some good defenders, solid in the middle of the park. Made some good summer signings in there. Some big, powerful lads up front. They've got a lot of pace about them as well. And Selhurst Park predominantly is one of the best. Okay, it's one of the oldest grounds in the Premier League. It needs a fair bit of updating, but it's a great atmosphere. The fans are terrific down there. And Graham Potter at the moment, because of this lack of time on the training field, just needs to get result. He doesn't want to end up being in an Eric Ten Hag scenario where he's staring at defeat after defeat. And he's trying to implement the way he's playing, and he's trying to figure out the playing staff, but they're not getting results. That's okay at Brighton when you're going 3, 4 or 5 and not getting a result, and then you win a couple. It's not okay at Chelsea because all the eyes are on you. And so he needs to just, at the moment, get some results on the board, more important than really the way the team are going to play in the long run. That's going to take time. But he's in with the big boys now, and it's going to be judged on results. And this is a tough one. You mentioned that Milan is going to be a tough one. And he's going to find out about this playing squad as well. This playing squad that was hastily assembled, some of them, Aubameyang at the last minute for Thomas Tuchel, and then he's sacked. These are not players that Graham Potter would probably have wanted, but they're players that he's got, and he's going to have to deal with them.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.